Yo, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Leach back here with another reaction video. We got issues to address before the season for each AFC North team: Browns, Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers. Let's get right into it.
Of NFL with
Make
the
sure
first
y'all
week
hit
of
that
preseason games
sub
in the
button,
books.
turn
We
the
are
noties
talking
on, all that
issues to
good stuff.
address
Follow the
before
socials
season
on the
starting
screen.
with the AFC
We
North.
much
The Browns
appreciate
beat
it.
the Panthers in their first preseason game, and rookie Shedeur Sanders shined, tossing 2 touchdowns, drawing the praise of so many, including the one and only LeBron James. Take a listen. You love it, right? When the king speaks, we listen. Take a listen to Sanders after the game.
Shedeur played pretty good.
Well, I say I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable, so that's what it is. I got pockets of finding my rhythm, and I got to get into that quicker, regardless of anything. But overall, I feel like me out there, and I couldn't do it, of course, without the time. I couldn't do it without the play calling. I couldn't do it without anything. So I'm just thankful to even be able to.
He showed up and showed out.
The joy of just being on the field overall, then carrying the responsibility of doing the right thing. So that's 2 badges under my belt already. That I got out there. I feel like we operated the huddle really, really good. So it's just the small details that of course we practice on and we talk about. And I'll say, of course, towards the end, I'll say we got a little sloppy, and we overall gonna finish it up, and that's gonna be a point of emphasis going into this next week. But I was just thankful just to share that moment with everybody.
Quite the detailed explanation. We love to hear that. Take a look at the Week 1 preseason results from the AFC North. The Ravens and the Colts. The Ravens and the Colts, and then the Bengals lost at the Eagles. The Browns won at the Panthers, and the Steelers won at the Jaguars. For more on the AFC North this weekend, we welcome in our NFL experts, Pete Prisco and Bryant McFadden. Pete, we will start with you. We got to talk about this quarterback situation with the Browns. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski said that he was happy with Sanders' performance, as everyone was, but that it's a little too early to know if he'll get more reps in practice or in the next preseason game. Enlighten us, Pete. What's going on in that quarterback room?
Well, it's understandable, and here's why. I think we tend to get overanalyze these preseason games, and I say that because
QB room's a mess.
They've had a lot of offseason work. They've had training camp. So clearly he was the number 4
They're just trying to find the right guy.
If everybody says he should be starting or should be pushing for the starting job based on one preseason
people make
game,
fun of them for drafting
all you're doing is saying that Kevin Stefanski and his coaches have no earthly idea what they're doing. And I don't buy that. Kevin Stefanski's a smart man.
I'm just not finding the right guy at
Shedeur
quarterback.
Sanders was put in a tough situation, and he played pretty well. He played pretty good football. But you look at it closer, there were some issues as well. So I think it's all a process for him. He's not going to be the starting quarterback. Joe Flacco will be the starting quarterback. Is he going to push for number 2 with Dylan Gabriel or Kenny Pickett? Maybe. But right now, he's number 4, and he's number 4 for a reason. I think we have to trust the process and let it play out.
Shedeur just got to keep going.
Well, technically, Pete, he's number 4 because of where he was drafted.
138,
that played a
2
big
TDs,
part in the depth chart in terms of seniority and draft positioning. Dylan Gabriel was drafted before Shedeur Sanders, so there was no way possible that Dylan Gabriel would be listed behind Shedeur Sanders. So that's one thing. Secondly, because of injuries to the other quarterbacks that I mentioned, Shedeur Sanders got an opportunity to start, and he played fairly well. And I know some people are over-analyzing, over-hyping his outcome against the Carolina Panthers, but if he played poorly, it would be over-hyped, it would be over-talked about as well. So he lived up to the billing, he did what he was supposed to do. So now, because of how he played, it's up to Kevin Stefanski to find a way to incorporate more reps for Shedeur Sanders. He's earned that right based on what he did in Week 1 of the preseason. They have a loaded quarterback room in terms of quantity, but they're trying to figure out the quality side of things.
And I agree with you, no
question, he's not going to be the Week 1 starter. And if I'm Shedeur Sanders, I don't want to be the Week 1 starter, but I want to be number 2 because it's safe to say when you look at this roster, and not being the most talented roster in their division, clearly the NFL, they're going to lose a lot of ball games. And when losses happen, there's change, especially at the quarterback position. So that would be the ideal mindset. Me personally, for sure, Shedeur Sanders continue to develop to potentially try to go get that number 2 job and be right behind Joe Flacco once the season starts.
That is a great take. I feel like we do the same thing this time of year. Every year we overreact, we overhype, we overanalyze. That's what we do to get excited for the season. So next, we're going to overanalyze the Ravens and their passing game. It was on full display with some big plays in their preseason game against the Colts and with Lamar Jackson in practice. Pete, what did you see that stood out to you?
Well, offensively, we know they can throw the football. I mean, look, Lamar Jackson has grown as a passer, and there's no question about it. He's one of the best in the league now, in large part because he can threaten them with the run game, and it makes it so hard to defend him in the passing game. He's become a much better player in the pocket.
Especially when you got Derrick Henry back there, you got to worry about.
As it relates to the passing game on the other side of the ball. Last year, they gave up 58 plays of 20-plus or more. That's a lot. That was third most in the league. They can't do that again. So what do? They go out and they get Jair Alexander to play corner. And I think that's going to help them a great deal.
And they drafted
Nate Wiggins will be much better as well.
Hamilton,
so I think the
Ravens defense will definitely be improved, but it's still not going to stop that boy
They also have to be able to stop the big play on the defense, and I think they'll be better
Mike Gesicki, like.
Well, you're
we still gonna put up 40 on y'all, bro.
Just blame Jamar Chase for those 2 outstanding games he had against Baltimore, because he was unstoppable against the Baltimore Ravens. That led to them making major additions, adding additions to their secondary with Jair Alexander.
Same thing with the Steelers. They're doing the same thing.
For me personally, just looking at this team,
Ravens
this
and
is
the Steelers,
a very well assembled
a little bit scared.
Right? They have talent every area on the team.
But they ain't gonna stop Jamar.
But what I did notice
in week 1 of the
preseason against the Colts, the backup quarterback position could be a concern. And yes, backup quarterbacks are not important until they're important. Right? And you look at, in years past, Snoop Huntley has commanded that backup position behind Lamar Jackson. Now they have Cooper Rush, who's trying to showcase that he could be that guy, or Devin Leary. Both guys combined for 5 of 16, 59 yards, and they each threw an interception.
Yikes.
Did not look serviceable, to say the least, for their offense. So understanding and knowing that, yes, Lamar Jackson is the guy, but we know when you look at how long the NFL season is, backup quarterbacks are very, very important just in case something happens to the franchise guy. In week 1 in the preseason, either guy to showcase that I could be that number 1 guy coming off the bench if something
they really don't have any other concerns outside of that.
We've seen that happen many times
their
for teams to start the season. All right, as we continue our issues to address before the year begins, let's talk the Bengals. Their offense shined, but as we know from last year, the offense would go out there, put on a show, and then we'd all kind of brace ourselves and hold our breath for when that Bengals defense would take the field. What's it looking like as a whole? Will it get better? Because it seemed to be the same story in their preseason game, Pete.
It's preseason, though.
Look, we know they need to get Trey Hendrickson back on the field first and foremost, and I think he will. I think they'll agree to a deal before the season, and he'll be there week 1. They need him to be able to rush the passer. They don't have a lot of guys there. Shamar Stewart missed a lot of time. He's still raw as a rookie, so they have to have Hendrickson in there. I think he will be in there. But the biggest difference for me is Al Golden. Al Golden takes over this defense. They played a lot of zone under Lou Anarumo. They're going to play much more man. And when you look at the makeup of their corners, I think those guys all have the look of being man cover corners. They struggled in that zone. I think they'll be better. That will make them better. But you have to have Hendrickson on the field. He has to be a guy that can be a disruptor from the edge and get help from Shamar Stewart and others on the other side.
Defense,
the secondary will be better because the defensive coordinator, I think, will fit what they want to do into his scheme.
Well, I can tell you this much, Pete. Defensively, in week 1 against the Eagles, a very, very vanilla strategy, of course, on the defensive side. It really didn't make you feel differently about this defense. Yes, without Trey Hendrickson not in the lineup, still, Tanner McKee was 5 for 5, 73 yards in 2 possessions against the Cincinnati Bengals starting defensive unit without Trey Hendrickson. That's not ideal. Tanner McKee is the backup quarterback.
It's preseason, though, bro. Yo, B-Bag, it's preseason.
Jalen Hurts is healthy. He was throwing to backup wide receivers. So that's not the best situation to be in terms of Cincinnati.
I'm not overreacting to preseason.
Coming from the backup unit offensively. And like I
know
said,
the starters were out there. They didn't look good.
Strategy. But that's the case throughout the entire league in the preseason. It's up to your guys to win their one-on-one matchups. In the first week of the preseason, defensively, they did not win their one-on-one matchups. Let's see, can they develop to showcase a little more production?
We just got to develop our young guys, bro. Like Miles Murphy, Joseph Osai, DJ Turner,
All right, let's
Dax
transition
Hill.
over to the Steelers. They jumped out to a 1-0 preseason record with a lot of positives on display. But one thing we have to talk about is the run game because, again, it was nearly non-existent. 301 passing yards to 66 rushing yards and no rushing touchdowns. B-Mac, what do you say about their run game going into this season?
Well, it's a concern, and here's why in terms of balance. You would like to have balance when you look at having an older quarterback in Aaron Rodgers to be able to have the entire playbook open for his dismay. But then looking at what they did against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Aaron Rodgers didn't play, DK Metcalf didn't play, but guess who played? The starting offensive line unit, right? They played 2 series. In those 2 series, I mean, you look at the running game, they only averaged 2.2 yards per carry in those series that the first unit offensive line unit was in the football game. That's not ideal. Granted, it wasn't Jalen Warren, it was Caleb Johnson. But you would like to see better efficiency in the trenches if you look to have a very, very successful offensive type year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And like I said, the starters didn't play, but the offensive line
the run game is definitely a
look
question
at their
mark
ability to
and
dominate.
an issue for
We
the
didn't
Steelers,
see that in the trenches. They did a good job in protecting the quarterback and Skylar Thompson and Mason Rudolph. But we know
obviously
how
they got Caleb Johnson, who they
this year for the
drafted.
Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's something I'm looking to see improve throughout preseason play.
You know, B-Mac, you said this year the running game is always important for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's their identity, and their identity was not to be seen last year. They averaged 4.1 per rush last season. We saw it in the opener this year. They didn't get any push in the run game. When you look up at the makeup of the offensive line, you have 3 second-year guys and 1 third-year guy as a starter. That's a raw, inexperienced offensive line. They have to come together. They have to be better getting pushed in the run game. If they don't, it's going to put a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to have to be able to move and get outside the pocket and create plays. So the run game is their identity. It hasn't been their identity in recent years. They have to get back to stopping the run and running the football. That's who the Pittsburgh Steelers are.
But it starts up front with the O-line.
The O-line once that line starts to mesh together.
But it's 1 week of preseason.
We love the insight, guys. Thank you so much. You got us ready for week 2 of the preseason. We appreciate the time. Take a look at the...
But that's going to do it for every issue, for every AFC North team. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do y'all think about these? Are these accurate? I think they are. But, yeah. This is a preseason week 2 schedule. We got Browns, Eagles, Buccaneers, Steelers, Ravens, Cowboys, Bengals, and the Commanders. But yeah, make sure y'all follow the socials on the screen. It'd be much appreciated. And I love y'all, and I'm out. But that's going to do it for this reaction, though. Make sure y'all subscribe, like the video, and I'm out. Peace.